Welcome back to the channel. Right now I have this chart of Lotus Labs, and I have been structurally warmed up bullish on this counter, wherein I was of the view that Lotus Lab had completed its overall corrective structure in the on the bottom of the 2020 low, and thereby after the bottom it made it was the low of 60 started strong and take impulsive move where it went from 60 levels to top of around 723 levels. So now would have to label this five-wave impulsive move where from if you look at the chart very carefully, we very easily able to spot a 9 wave incline. That's 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'd be happy to label it wave 1, think that I am outright bullish counter. If I label wave 2, I would be of the assumption that 3 would at least travel the same length as what wave 1 traveled. So wave 3 comes around 10 5 levels. So let me give you very clear level of perfect level. And the level which wave 1 equals wave 3 comes around 943. And you know, when you start to trade in wave 3, the usual idea in the back of my mind is there is always a chance for wave 3 to extend on the higher side. So there's a chance that once we start to go towards 700, 730, or when we cross above the high of 730, we would start to extend, and the extent possibly mean that we would have much higher distance to travel. Possibly it could even go towards 1350 or even 1400 in the future. That is my take on dollar slabs. If I look at the weekly chart, I would since I told that my previous is that wave already completed over here, and this is not of complex wave 2 structure, then I would be of the view that wave 3 has already started on the upside. Then I would have to label this as 1212, and this wave 2 uh, decline or correction, time wise correction, is very interesting, wherein if you take a look at its time wise correction, it's around 6 days. That's almost 9 weeks. So 9 weeks of correction in wave 2 would mean that whenever wave the third starts to unfold, that would mean that the move on the upside would eventually going to be very strong and very fast. So with this as wave 1, wave 2, this being of wave actually start to break the higher side wave 3 in wave 3. So when we start the line wave, that would mean first confirmation would be a close of 1418 levels. After the close above 1480 levels, I would eventually start to add more quantities into Lotus Labs. I have built position Lotus Labs, wherein I have bought Lotus Labs October future. I've got it around 390.15 levels. And I've also got Kotak back. I'll show you the chart of Kotak. This chart is also very interesting. But for Lotus Labs, my long-term eventual target is around 40, 1500. Let's have a look at Kotak Bank. Well, Kotak Bank, if I have a look, then particular chart, then it's a no-brainer. Any mature pediatrician would understand that this is a line towards 5, and that the incline or the input has been completed. If we see from here, that this is one wave 2 and wave 3 subdivided into 5 waves, 1, 2, 3, and that would be 1, 2, 4, 5. 5 waves is absolutely clear that 5 waves is completed, and this is some sort of a correction in wave 4 or extension. We don't really know. I would not like to the preempt what degree we are really like to move first and then add up my wave. And so if I look at the weekly chart, this looks somewhat like an ending diagonal to me, wherein all the legs are colliding with each other. So that would mean whenever this starts to break on the upside meaning whenever it starts to break above this declining trend line, that would mean that this ending diagonal is come into play and we eventually start to head higher. So right now I have just a testing position in Kotak Bank. Once it really starts to go above, let's suppose this level, high comes around 17, we start to go 17. That would also mean that we have already crossed over this declining trend line, resistance trend line, and that would mean that the trend has now been confirmed that it is the upside. So once we start to go above from here, we would 1000 level, then towards the swing high position high of 20 to 2300 levels, and then eventually towards 2400, 2500. This is my long-term outlook for Mahindra Bank. I think that was it for the video.